Remember Men in Black when Will Smith would like point that gadget at everybody and no one could remember anything that just happened? They won't let you remember.
Sorry.
Yeah, I need that gadget for these books. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie, and you saw from the title, you know what I'm talking about. These are the books. Excuse me, birds, that's rude. Don't mind the birds. There's a nest outside my window. But these are the books that I would kill to read again. The ones that I wish I could forget what happened in these books because they were life-changing books. I'm dramatic, but they were. I would kill to read these books again. I would sell my soul. That's dramatic. Would I really sell my soul to read these books again? Probably not, but I'm just dramatic. But you know what I mean? Like, these are the books that you loved so much, whether it was because it opened the door to like a new genre of book, whether it was the experience, whether it was like the time of your life that you read it. You just wish you could go back and reread it again for the first time, but you can't because life sucks that way. Anyway, that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So let's just get into these books that I would love to reread again for the first time. Okay, so these are in no particular order. I just grabbed them off my shelf. I own all but two of them. The first book that I would love to reread again, I'll come off. Like, I don't even want to read the whole series. Like, I just want to skip over Tam Tam and I just want to go straight to Reread, okay? If you don't know, how dare you not know what this book is. But this is A Court of Mist and Fury, and it is by Sarah J. Maas, and this is the second book in A Court of Thorns and Roses series. It's the best book in the series, and I will stand on a soapbox all the rest of my life and tell you that it is. I do not care. This is the best book.
I said what I said.
Best book, okay? So this is about Feyre, and we all know, I mean, it's fairies. It's fairy smut. It's pretty much what it is, but it's the circle of friends you meet in the story. It is the development of the characters. It's learning how they're all connected or were connected. Look, I love this book. And gosh darn it, I just might reread it and not even read A Court of Thorns and Roses because, well, if you read the series, you know, I just... And in the cover, like, don't get me started. I am so glad that I got these covers when they first came out because, look, I hate the new covers. I hate them with a passion. But these covers were the best ones. I don't care. Again, what anyone says. The next book on my list is a thriller, and that is No Exit by Taylor Adams. I read this, I think, last January. First book I ever read by him because it was the only book he had out at the time. And now he's got, well, I guess he had more books out, but this was the first one that I read by him. And then Hairpin Bridge came out, and we just know, we all wish we had that little gadget from Men in Black after reading that one. Yeah. So this is a thriller about a girl named Darby, and she gets stuck in a rest stop during a snowstorm with like 4 other people. And she soon finds out that one of the people is a kidnapper because they have a child in their car. So she kind of has to figure out who it is and save the girl. This is so fast paced. It happens all in one night. I loved it. There's a Hulu movie on it. The Hulu movie is okay. I prefer the book. But don't we all? We always prefer the book. But I don't know. I love this. This was like the fastest thriller I read ever. Like, me fast reading it and just fast paced. So if you haven't read this yet, give it a chance because honestly, it really is hyped for a reason. The next book is a romance. It's a taboo, is it like a taboo romance? I guess kind of, maybe, sort of. But it is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. This was like my first smutty read, I guess. So you could thank her for my love of smut because ever since this book, Like, I will never turn back. Like, one, I love Penelope Douglas, and two, I love Pike, which is the hero in the story. Anyway, so in this story, we're following Jordan, and she's got a boyfriend who's just kind of, you know the kind. You know. So they end up moving in with his father named Pike, and Pike is like 30 some. She's 19, but a slow burn, tension building relationship, develops, and oh my gosh, I love this book. I love Daddy Pike, and I don't have daddy issues, but Daddy Pike. Ooh. The next book on my list is Lovely War by Julie Berry. This is a YA historical romance. It is mostly based in World War I. It does kind of span to World War II, but it is narrated by the Greek gods. Okay? If you're into mythology by any means, like if it's just you enjoy like the stories, or you like really like to dig deep into mythology, give this book a read. It was so good. And I'm not a historical person. Like, I don't read historical romances. They're not my jam. They're not my favorite by any means. But this book made me cry. I loved it. It was so good. Just like, give it a chance. Just give it a chance. Okay, the next book I do not own. But that is Bunny by Mona Awad. Look. You're okay. You're one of two people when you read this book. You either like absolutely loved it and you gave it 5 stars, or you're like, what the frick did I just read? And you gave it like 3 or below stars. Okay. So I read this book and I'm still not quite sure what it's about. I don't know if I'm supposed to take what happened literally, metaphorically, or like in the middle. What does it mean? What does it mean? But I'll tell you a little bit about the book. You're following a girl, I think her name was Stephanie, I think. But she's in like an elite writing program in college, and there's only like, she's in a class, like a creative writing class or something, with another group of girls, and they all call themselves the Bunnies. Literally, hi Bunny, hi Bunny, hey Bunny. Just Bunny. So they invite her over to their smut salon, which at first I was like, oh my God, you're going to go read smut together. That's fantastic. I need a smut salon too. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. That's not what smut salon is. So I'm going to tell you, it's not what it is. So, come to find, she starts to be one of these bunnies. And just stuff happens. Like, I don't know what I read. Well, I should reread it now that I know what's going to happen and be like, do I still like only want to give it 3 stars, or do I totally want to give it like 5 or like a 1? I don't know. But it's on this list because of the experience. It was a ride. So no, it wasn't my favorite book, but it definitely left me feeling some things. The next book on my list is pure nostalgia. This is purely on here because of the nostalgic feel. And that's Twilight. These are a different dust jacket, but it's Twilight. I read this back in 2005 when it came out. I was 16 when these books came out. Changed my world. Like, I'm dramatic, but it's true. And you can't say that it was. Okay, these books open the door for YA paranormal to happen. Before then, it wasn't a lot of YA paranormal. It was more YA contemporary, YA coming of age, things like that. But when this came out, then you had the door for fairies, vampires, fallen angels. Oh my gosh. You know how many fallen angel series in YA there are? It's a lot. It's a lot. And I read them. No shame in my game, but I read them. But this just opened the door. So you can thank like all the stuff you read now. Thanks to her. Do it. Do it, because it's true. I'm not even going to tell you what Twilight's about, because you know. You know! And if you don't know, really? You don't know? Oh my God, even my door's upset if you don't know what Twilight's about. Woo! We all know this is a Bella Swan story about how she falls in love with a vampire named Edward, and he was boyfriend goals, and I don't want to hear how, like, toxic he was. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Because he was my first fictional boyfriend, and I don't want to hear it. Okay. But, yeah. There's, oh my gosh, how many years in the series? 4 in the series. 5 movies. And then there's Midnight Sun it's Edward's perspective. But this is on here because purely nostalgic and purely because it opened the door to so many other books for me to read. The next book on my list is Verity by Colleen Hoover. I'm pretty sure this was the first Colleen Hoover book that I read. But that's not why it's on this. Or is it because, you know what, it's probably a little bit of both. 1, because it was the first Colleen Hoover book I read. And 2, because the ending. The ending. First and foremost, I need to know in the comments, are you team manuscript or are you team letter? If you read the book, you know. I'm team manuscript, like, all the way. All the way. So, let me tell you a little bit about this if you haven't read it yet. So, Verity is an author who gets in a car wreck and she ends up kind of in a vegetative state, and she is contracted to do so many more books in her series. So the publishing company gets another author to go in and ghostwrite for her. And I can't remember the author's name right now, but she ends up going to Verity's house with her family, living there so she can go through her notes. And stuff just starts happening. Okay, stuff just starts happening. It all goes down. It's like a thriller romance, but I don't even really consider it a romance. It's there. There's aspects of romance, but stuff just starts going. She finds Verity's manuscript because she was going to write like an autobiography or something. That's all I'm going to say. Just, okay? Because stuff starts happening. Stuff starts happening when she gets to Verity's house. The next book on my list is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. Look, I read this book last November. I think it was November. I tabbed it. She don't tab very much. She tabbed the heck out of this book. This book is about Vanessa, and when she was 15 years old, she was in a relationship with her, or what she thought was a relationship with her teacher. And come to find out, no, he's just a sexual predator. And it's you watching how that affected her life and affected her development and how she views the world, how she views herself because of it. It was an amazing read. It's hard to read. It's very hard. I was very upset in a lot of the book. I was mad at the teacher. I felt icky reading it, which I think you're supposed to. It's doing its job if you feel that way. So I definitely think it's not for everyone. So keep that in mind if you want to go in and read it. But just, it made you think. It brought out feelings. And a lot of times when books bring out feelings in me, I'm like, oh, that's, I definitely want to like reread it again. But it'll be a while before I reread this one. But I definitely do want to reread it again in the future. The last book on my list is The Confidence of Wildflowers by Michaela Smeltzer. I just read this book in March, the end of March. I love this book. 5 out of 5. I don't know. I don't know why. It's nothing spectacular. It's not like a spectacular romance. But it's a romance and I loved it. That's why it's on this list. So in this book, you're following Salem, and Salem is 18 years old. She is just graduated high school, and she's getting ready to, start her next chapter in her life. And she lives with her mother, and she gets a new neighbor named Thayer. He is 30 years old, and it's a slow burn, age gap romance. And I'm coming to find out that I don't mind the slow burn books, because I was always like, ugh, it's torture, ugh. But really, you know what? If it's written right and the tension Like, I enjoy it. Totally. So, okay, look up trigger warning. Okay. Trigger warnings for this book I will have listed down below in my description. Because some people don't like to know trigger warnings. They think it's spoilers. So I will always have trigger warnings if there are in books that I talk about down below in the description. They're always linked down below also for you guys. Because, you know, my synopses are not that good when I talk about some books, but I always have them linked because I know how bad I am at talking about books. But I just like doing it because I think it's fun. So yeah, slow burn, age gap, read it. It's the first in a duology. A lot of people didn't like the second book. I love the second book. So, you know, just if you have certain tastes that are the same as mine, you may enjoy the second book also. But that's it. That's my list of 10 books that I would love to reread again, that I would, you know what, I just love to reread it. Like, I don't want to be that dramatic girl, but like, I would sell my soul to reread it, or you know, because like, come on, let's just be real. Like, would I? No, I wouldn't. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. If you're new, I would love to have you join the family. My social media links are down below if you want to follow me or friend me on Goodreads and Bookstagram. But I hope you guys have a great day. Oh, and before you leave, tell me down below in the comments what is one book that you would love to reread again for the first time. I would love to know. But I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys. Remember in Black... Wow. No, apparently not. I don't even remember. But well, okay. Scratch that. The dog. Stop. Shut your neighbor. Shut the dog up, neighbor. You're so rude. Stop it. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you.